Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is TBR Schmitt and this is my wife Samantha.
Hello.
And today we are watching episode 8 of The Haunting of Bly Manor. What'd you think of last episode?
I mean, that episode was crazy.
Yeah.
We are seeing really how evil Peter is. Rebecca kind of redeemed herself in not actually taking over Flora, just pretending to for Peter. But they're dealing with all of that, and then I completely forgot about the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah, no, that episode ended crazy. I mean, it ended with Danny being strangled.
I don't know, it seemed like a very quick death when the lady killed Peter, but Danny looks like she's struggling. So she's still alive at the end of the last episode, so we'll see. I mean, I don't think anybody's really safe, so she could absolutely die in the first 5 minutes of this episode, but...
Yeah. I don't know, we've said it multiple times that the show just seems to progressively get darker and worse.
Yeah.
So nothing's going to shock me if it just keeps getting darker and worse.
Yeah. And we are on our last day of Bly. We're going to be watching episodes 8 and 9 back to back.
Yeah. So if you'd like to see the full-length reaction to this, as well as everything else that we've reacted to, the link to our Patreon is in the description. If you would like to interact with us on our Instagrams, Twitch, or Twitter, all those links are in the description as well. And with that, let's get into the episode. Oh man, so it is just going to pick up right here. I was really hoping for something instantly to happen, like someone to show up. Oh!
There lived in the province of Hampshire a widowed gentleman, Mr. Willoughby.
One of them has to be the Lady of the Lake. I assume whatever her name is from last Hill House.
Theo.
The elder, Viola, the younger, Perdita. With their father in the ground, they faced a dire necessity for marriage. Perdita in her sweetness, Viola in her wit, and Viola, of course, in the finest of dresses. Viola knew them for what they were. Vultures.
Huh.
Bly must stay in the family, and the sisters must stay in control. One Mr. Arthur Lloyd. Viola had made certain to be absent when he arrived, and in doing so learned he was a gentleman.
Interesting.
And just as Perdita began to feel the stirrings of a true interest in the young man.
Make a better entrance.
In fact, every detail of Viola's entrance was a pageant. He may marry her, but there should be no mistake in the true authority of Bly Manor.
And so they really want to keep it in the family.
A fine outcome for Viola, and a fine outcome for Perdita.
To love, cherish,
and obey.
Nope, not that one.
The vicar believed this an innocent omission. It was not. And a surprise not to God. He'd made her that way, after all.
I wonder if there's going to be another affair situation.
Yeah, because his sister liked him.
Yeah.
The manor saved. Young Viola turned her eyes inward. She would sleep. She would wake. She would walk.
He's just like an insomniac.
And she's walking the halls at night.
Yeah.
No, perhaps it was something else.
Like there's just nothing else to do.
Viola found that under its purpose, her marriage may have some amount of love to it after all.
Bly belongs to you, and they will try to take it from you as they did me.
Little girl.
It's you, it is me, it is us.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what Peter always says.
What a cute baby.
As for Viola, her suspicion began as small tickle in her lungs.
Oh no.
Impossible, finally, to ignore.
She's gone. Whoa. I don't know if the Lady of the Lake is Viola or her sister.
Yeah.
It is not the plague.
Oh, thank God.
She has the lung. Months at the most. And I would keep her separate.
Maybe that's why she's so angry, because she feels like everyone had to abandon her for the last couple of months. Level of medicine they had back then.
You must repeat the rite. Say the words after me.
No.
What did you say?
No.
Bly's hers. This is her place.
I do not go.
She says she will not go, she will not.
That's why she's stuck here.
A quick dance?
No.
Just one then.
I mean, there was no affair. Her family loved her. Her sister loved her.
Her sister stuck up for her.
She just didn't want to leave.
Auntie, we need music, do we not?
We need sleep.
I never see you dance.
She has you there, Purdy.
Maybe this is what pisses her off. Oh.
Held alive, some would whisper, by stubbornness alone.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Take me to bed.
She's got to be going insane being alive way longer than she should be.
I apologize. No need. I can dance with my own husband. I don't need you to take that on.
Death had come for Viola, denied so often, in fact, that it would not venture to Bly Manor again.
Death doesn't come here anymore. She just literally refused to die.
Oof.
5 years, the only husbandly duty he's fulfilled is that of mourning.
Oh, caught you.
Think of Isabel. What memories of you will she carry? They will not be buried in my rings. They will be a great inheritance for our daughter.
Wow.
So you will keep them for her till she grows into them.
I think she's ready.
And with Arthur gone, all pretense was put aside. The word began in her chest as the sickness did for Viola, a whisper in her ear.
She gonna kill her?
Until the word came to live in her hand.
Oh no.
The word was not mercy, she realized in the end.
Revenge?
It had always been enough.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, that's how you have a evil ghost in the house now. Man, I cannot believe she just killed her.
Keeping his promise.
Hopefully. I mean, I don't think much matters anymore now that she was murdered in this house.
True.
I think the damage is done.
For in Perdita's eyes, he felt an echo of Viola's.
Oh, make it even worse.
They were married, as was becoming, with great privacy, almost with secrecy.
I definitely feel like she's the one that's up in the attic that, like, Peter grabbed to, like, show off.
Failed to become a mother in her own right, and her adopted daughter refused to see her as a mother.
Oh, it's not going well.
Ooh.
Whoa. That is one evil painting.
And that it lay languishing in thankless gloom in the dusty attic. Perdita had reached her limit.
Great.
Did you not run our estate into the damned ground?
Jeez, Perdita.
It is out of the question.
Glad to learn the value at which I'm held. But what right had Violet to dispose of our future?
Definitely in the beginning, I thought Viola was the evil sister, but she might be taken over as the most evil one.
I mean, she just murdered her sister.
That's true. That was a big step. I wonder if this is like the catalyst that actually makes Viola come back.
Murder her back.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like she's up in the attic in present time. She's going up into the attic now.
Like, not only is she betraying Viola and her husband, but also Isabella.
Yeah. Everyone in the family. That was insane. That was real scary and cool.
That's scary so.
Whoa. It's definitely not a normal death.
To another night, the night in which Viola would sleep.
Wow. Sisters just killed each other. It's like she was like trapped in that, and Perdita just opened it up and released her. Whoa, so it's like her purgatory really is like the inside of this chest.
Yeah.
That's crazy. With all of her stuff that she didn't want to be buried with.
It's gonna click.
She would sleep. She would wake.
She didn't want to go, so...
She would walk.
She's in this for 6 years.
Yeah. I don't know if it feels like 6 years for her, or longer, shorter. Whoa.
She admitted she was dead, and she admitted her room was a dream. But there waited for her a reward, and one day Isabel would open her mother's trunk.
Oh my God.
And day after day, night after night,
Oh.
the moment finally came.
She was excited to see her daughter.
And then you got your sister that murdered you. And now she's free.
Only his sadness slept and waited. The business was empty. The manor was lost. They would move away from here, the two of them, and also Viola. She'd be with them both.
To bring the chest.
Wow.
She'd be with them, and that was all that mattered. A reward for all these years of isolation. His superstition defied reason, but...
Oh no.
Do they bury this chest here?
They're gonna throw it in the lake?
No, duh. Oh my God.
This absolute abandonment, it shattered Viola's heart.
Have we seen the chest down there?
Maybe when Peter and Rebecca...
Viola would not go. She instead made her own gravity, and once again, she would sleep.
That is so crazy. I don't know why I went to bury first, but thank God you got throwing it into the lake.
She would wake, and she would walk, feeling that if she walked to her bedroom, and she'd stare at that empty bed.
She definitely was very mean to her sister, but Viola had a lot of shitty stuff happen to her.
She would sleep, and she would forget. Having forgotten, she would wake. Her attention lay only ahead, on the daughter she believed would be waiting for her there. Manor had become a quarantine for the coughing death that ravaged her former community.
Oh my God.
Where is she?
She see her?
What are you doing in here?
You mustn't be in this wing without protection.
And as the plague doctor died, her gravity, it would hold others too.
Wow. I feel like we saw the plague doctor like the first episode.
And having forgotten, she would wake.
She's just looking for her daughter.
Viola faintly noticed her own attempted exorcism. So little did she remember that one night she found a child in her daughter's old bed.
Oh.
Hoping to find a child. Must be the child whom she'd sought. Must.
No way.
Oh, it's the little boy.
Just pulled him right into the lake.
Those unfortunates trapped in the gravity well she had made of Bly Manor, they were fading as well. Her fate was a nightmare. A fate that befell Viola's once sister, now forgotten in the attic.
Yep.
A fate that befell a poor valet, that befell even those who died of other causes of Bly.
Wow, just revisiting everyone.
No hope for the victims of Bly, and no hope, it would seem, for the young au pair stepped into the path of her own fate.
Wow, we don't... It just brings us right back to the ending of last episode. All right, that was episode 8 of The Haunting of Bly Manor. What'd you think of the episode?
That was crazy. I mean, every episode I say the same thing. It was crazy and it was dark, which this was no different.
This was incredibly dark and very crazy.
So we finally got the answer to who the lady in the lake is. But this was really dark, and I feel like there's been a general sense of like good and bad in the show. Like you can kind of tell who is good and who is bad. And for this entire season, we've obviously assumed that the lady in the lake is bad. She's killing everybody.
Right.
But I actually feel really bad for her.
Yeah. I mean, the show definitely does a good job of balancing out everyone's character with some good moments, some bad moments. You still have your like main, I guess, villains essentially. But yeah, no, I mean, for the most part, the Lady of the Lake was like the big, bad, scary person. And then we see this story, and yeah, she physically slaps her sister a few times, but she loved her husband. She loved her daughter. She wanted to keep the house in the family. And she has this super tragic story of getting sick and ill It's not anything that she did. It was just unfortunate. And she just didn't want to leave and leave her family. It was sad. It was definitely very sad for the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, Viola and Perdita obviously were very close. They had a wonderful relationship. They knew exactly what they were doing when they wanted to keep Bly Manor in their family.
Yeah.
You know, obviously they brought a distant cousin in who Viola ended up marrying. I very much feel like Perdita had feelings for Arthur, though. I mean, she said that she did right from the start.
From the beginning, yeah.
And I don't know if those ever disappeared. And maybe I am not supposed to not like her as much as I don't, but like, I don't think that she was a good person.
Perdita?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like she was jealous, and I feel like obviously it was not okay that Viola was like slapping her around when she was there for her husband and for her daughter. But at the same time, I didn't really think that her intentions were good in being there either.
Yeah.
So obviously Viola was very sick. Like, she just felt awful all of the time.
Yeah.
And she wasn't willing to let go.
No, she wasn't willing to let go. She felt terrible. She was literally clinging to life for like 6 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it must suck to be that just destroyed as a person, and all you want to do is be with your husband and be with your daughter and sleep in the same bed with them and be a part of your family, but you have to be kept away and isolated. And you see glimpses of your sister kind of sneaking into that lifestyle that you desperately want, that you can't have for nothing that you did wrong.
Yeah.
So you start to definitely sympathize with Viola for sure. And I agree with you. I mean, Perdita seemed like the sweet, like innocent younger sister, and Viola kind of seemed like the older, like cunning, manipulative big sister. But as things kind of played out, Perdita did literally murder Viola.
Yeah, and that whole kind of narrative speech over that scene was chilling.
Between Mercy.
Yeah, between Mercy and then just having enough.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, whoa.
And I think that's what would have been different. I mean, if you would have had a situation where Viola was like, please, like, I've had enough, and Perdita had to like suffocate her with a pillow or something. But Viola did not want to go. No,
and she didn't have a lot of fight in her because she was so sick, but she fought. Like, that was not, thank you, I'm gonna go to the other side. Like,
yeah,
she fought that from the moment the priest got there and they were kind of reading her last rites.
She was just like, no.
Yeah, and her sister was supportive at that moment. Her husband is just kind of forever stuck in this endless loop with her of her not being well. He can't be with her, he can't see her. And then he's taking care of their daughter, and their daughter is growing, and she's just seeing her mom essentially disintegrate.
Yeah.
So it's not really good for anybody that she was still hanging on and that she was still alive, but that wasn't Perdita's decision to make.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be people that disagree with that.
I agree with you. I mean, if you had to say which sister... I mean, both of them did bad stuff, but which sister is the more evil one? It would have to be Perdita, because she literally murdered her sister.
Yeah, and then Viola essentially just got her revenge in killing her back. And I don't even think it was about revenge. Like, it had nothing to do with the fact that she killed her. It was the fact that she was sitting in that room for years and years waiting for her daughter to finally open this thing. Like, the smile on her face, like, she was so excited. And the day finally came, and then all of a sudden it's her greedy sister.
Yeah, her sister who married her husband, who tried to be the mother to her daughter, who is now taking all of her clothes and jewelry, who wanted Arthur from the beginning. That was such an amazing scene, that she was literally trapped in that chest.
Yeah, she was in the room
that
she was staying in, but it became the chest.
But it was the chest, yeah. And she could kind of see glimpses of herself, of what she truly looked like in the mirror, which we've had that before with Danny, and looking in the mirror and seeing moments of her past, essentially, to be just kind of stuck in this like dream sequence. And she was the first person in Bly, so maybe Peter and Rebecca have kind of learned how to jump around, but these people back then, they didn't know what was going on, so they just were stuck in these endless loops fading away.
Yeah, and I want to touch on her being in that chest when she dies. Like, they play out the whole scene from Perdita's perspective, and then it goes back. I guess not even a scene, the 6 years in between. But you see Viola in the bed, and just, I mean, the details, the fact that she's laying in the bed, she's covered in the same sheet that's covering...
With the rose petals.
Yeah, with the rose petals, and she gets up and she like pulls it off of her. I mean, that was like art.
Yeah, and when Perdita comes and she pulls off the thing with the petals, and just like her arms coming through
the dress. And then she's wearing the dress in the end.
That was an amazing sequence. I mean, this whole episode, there's definitely a few times where you get through the series and you're like, okay, that was my favorite episode.
Yeah.
But this one was my favorite episode. I mean, we had talked so many times before that we were like, we have no idea anything about the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
And in this one episode, we learned everything about the Lady in the Lake plus Bly. So that whole sequence of how Viola was killed by Perdita and the family kind of crumbling, her getting locked into the purgatory of the chest, Perdita opening that chest in the attic, which we've seen a woman in a fancy dress in the attic before.
Yeah, you called that.
So you know she kind of dies up there. That arm slipping through the dress was just spectacular. And it just gets even more tragic. Like, you had that terrible moment where Perdita opened up the chest, but she goes back into the chest and they're moving places. And you're like, oh my God, like you see a smile on Viola's face again. Like, oh, we're leaving and I'm going with my husband and my daughter.
And I'll get to see them again when she opens the chest.
Yeah, she's still just so hopeful for her daughter opening up the chest. And then once they started carrying the chest outside, I was like, oh my God, they're going to bury it. And thankfully you're like, no, they're going to throw it in the lake. And it's like, that's how she becomes the Lady of the Lake. So sad.
Very sad. And like you said, had we seen that chest before, and maybe we have, obviously there's a lot about this show that I would kind of like to rewatch.
Yeah.
How you had said you thought that you saw the doctor, the plague doctor at some point. So there's a lot of things that I would like to go back and see now that we know, but we had to have seen that chest.
Yeah, I feel like there might have been a moment or something, especially in the scenes with Rebecca and Peter, that you might have seen a chest like off on the side, but obviously your focus is on Peter's dead body and multiple skeletons.
Right, and you're not really going to think anything of like there being junk at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could have been there. We're going to have to go back and look for sure.
Yeah.
But that is just spectacular how they kind of tied this whole episode together and ended it with that chest getting thrown in there. Well, not ended it, but that's the whole creation of the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
And then we have Viola is now walking Bly, and it's not necessarily in an evil way to begin with.
No, she's looking for her daughter.
Yeah, she's just kind of looking for her family, her daughter.
Which they kept saying child, so I don't know if it's a little boy or not, but when she takes him and she brings him to the lake, that was heartbreaking because it's so far gone. She's so forgetful at this point that she doesn't even know. She's just like, oh, a child. This must be who I'm here for.
Right.
That was,
and the kids like wrapped around, like just slowly walking him in, like just to know that he just drowned like that.
Yeah.
And just the differences too, like that wasn't her first kill.
No.
She had like brutally killed other people, but when she saw the child, it was more like, oh, let me grab you and like calmly walk you in.
Yeah.
So she's still aware enough to know the differences of what's going on, but the fact that her face fades, her memory fades, everything about her fades to the point where now she truly is just like a walking zombie that knows nothing other than to kill and doesn't even know why at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wraps us all the way back to the end of last episode, which was the beginning of this episode, which is her just grabbing Danny.
Right. And Danny's still struggling, so she's not dead yet.
The only thing I can think of is Flora is there. So I don't think she's seen that many children. Maybe something will trigger in her or something to be like, oh wait, I'm supposed to have a kid, right? And she'll like drop Danny and then pick up Flora. which I don't know if that doesn't sound any better, but
I don't know, because they saw Miles and Flora, like she walked right past them when she had Peter.
That's true. Yeah, no, there goes that point. So yeah, I don't know. It definitely is not looking good for Dani, and we still don't know what's going on with her.
Yeah. I mean, this was a huge episode, though. We got a lot of answers for the Lady in the Lake, which, I mean, she's been here since day one, so...
Yeah, she's the cause of it all.
Yeah.
So definitely excited to see the last episode, and we're going to wrap it up right now.
Yeah, me too.
So if you'd like to see the full-length reaction to this, as well as everything else that we've reacted to, the link to our Patreon is in the description. If you would like to interact with us on any other types of social media, all those links will be in the description as well. And with that, peace everyone.
Bye.
Bye.